investigated by the FEC for illegal campaign contributions because he's not a United States citizen. He sits on the governing council of this dark money environmentalist group. Has anybody in leadership at your department met with them, the Wilderness Society?
Senator, I do not know this individual, and
Has anybody in leadership at your department met with the Wilderness Society?
Well, I'm sure we've met with a lot of groups and organizations in the work that we do when we're discussing the environment.
So does that mean you don't know, or you're not going to answer my question?
I don't have a full list of everyone that everyone has met with. But
well, I can help you with that as well. The answer is yes. Your leadership has met with the Wilderness Society. They met with the Wilderness Society when that group was a plaintiff suing the Department of the Interior with an adverse lawsuit against you, and they met with them off the books. I've got the emails. In July of 2021, after you had come to office, members of the Wilderness Society, when they're suing the department, write to your top deputy and ask for a meeting to keep it off of his calendar. Here it is, July 14th, 2021. Can we set up a meeting with these folks? July 19th, 2021, they propose how they might calibrate this so it doesn't look like they're violating any of the rules of the court. And remarkably, it stays completely off of everybody's calendars. We only know about it because FOIA requests were filed. And then after they have these off-the-books meetings, their request is to cancel the mineral leasing rights in Minnesota in the Superior National Forest. This is a critical minerals mine. The society wants the mine shut down. After they meet off the books with your leadership, you do it. A few months later, you do it. You cancel the leases, and then you withdraw 225,000 acres of critical mining from production and leasing shortly after that. Is it common practice at your department to meet with dark money groups off the books and conceal it from the public?
Senator, thank you for the question. And of course, I can't answer to, if you're referring to our former deputy secretary, he's no longer at the department.
Who worked for you?
He worked for the president. He was appointed by the president.
He's your deputy secretary. Are you the secretary of the Department of Interior? I thought that's why you were here. Are you the secretary? Don't look at her, look at me.
Yes.
Are you the secretary?
I am.
Do these people who are sitting here today answering most of your questions, do they work for you?
They work.
Do they report for you? You're not in charge?
They work with me.
They work with you. So you're not in charge of the department. Oh my gosh, I thought you were in charge. I thought that's why you were here.
We work as a team.
Oh, okay. So who's in charge then?
I provide the vision, I provide the overall direction, and
but you're not in charge.
Our mission.
Do you take responsibility for what happens at the Department of the Interior?
I take responsibility.
Do you take full responsibility for what happens at the Department of the Interior? Good. Then why are your leadership meeting with dark money groups and concealing it from the public? Why are they doing it off the books? How many times has this happened?
Senator, this is the first I'm hearing of this. My deputy secretary is no longer there, and I can't answer to what he did when he was there.
What did they get out of it, do you suppose? What do you suppose Hans-Jörg Weiss got out of you canceling the leases after they asked you to?
I don't know who.
In an off-the-books reading.
I don't know who this individual
Oh, sure. I mean, you don't know. You're not in charge. You're not responsible. We have a corruption problem in this government, Madam Secretary, and frankly, we have a corruption problem in your department.
We don't.
We've got we certainly do. We have foreign billionaires who are funding dark money groups coming to meet with your leadership, concealing it from the public while they are filing lawsuits adverse to the department, doing it without the court's knowledge, doing it, you say, without your knowledge, and then getting exactly what they want. Now, I don't know how much money he made off of it. I'm sure it was a lot. I know how he made his money. He made his money by poisoning people. Hans-Jörg Weiss, here's what his company did. In 2009, Synthes USA, with Weiss at its head, was charged by Philadelphia's U.S. attorney with running an illegal clinical trial on humans. They injected them with a cement that turns to bone inside the human skeleton. That's the guy who's funding this group, who's pressuring your department, and you're meeting with them off the books and giving them exactly what they want.
I did not meet with him. You're implying that I met with him.
I'm just trying to figure out who's in charge of the Interior Department. You've said it isn't you. It sounds to me like it's the billionaires. It sounds to me like it's the dark money billionaires who are calling the shots at the Department of the Interior. And all I have to say to you, Madam Secretary, is that is a travesty. It is a travesty. The American people should be in charge, not the foreign billionaires. And the fact that you've let them run rampant is outrageous. It's outrageous. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Again. So I know there's a lot of jobs.
Wait a minute. You're telling me you're telling me we've got too many jobs in the country?
Well, I'm saying that we don't have enough people. That's why we are having a hard time finding folks to work at our department. But
wait, you're telling me that we have too many jobs for blue-collar work? Have you seen the number of jobs we have lost in this country to China in the last 20 years? Do you know where those jobs come from? Over 3 million jobs have gone to China. Good luck. Good luck to you. We got plenty, just shut up and go get a job at McDonald's, whatever. No more quit complaining about the loss of American industry. I mean, good Lord, that is extraordinary. What an extraordinary response. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to the witnesses for being here. Secretary Haaland, if I could just start with you. I want to ask you about this memo from the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management that leaked a few weeks ago that suggests that your department, I'm looking at the memo now, that suggests that your department has been prioritizing a climate change agenda over energy security in this country. And I just want to get to the bottom of this and see if this is true. The memo concerns Lease Sale 258 in Alaska, the Cook Inlet project. And I just want to quote from the memo, which I have in front of me. If the Cook Inlet prospect would be developed, there would be additional government revenues and greater energy security for the state of Alaska. The memo goes on. Nevertheless, it's quite a transition. Nevertheless, because of the challenges facing the nation from climate change, BOEM is not, the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management is not recommending this option. And what the memo says is that the government ought to charge 18.75% in royalties, the maximum take allowed under the law, instead of a lower rate that would actually lead to more development. Now, did you agree with that?
Senator, thank you for the question. And of course, royalty rates are such that because our public lands belong to every single American, that Americans should get a fair return on the land that is used for this purpose.
But did you agree with charging the highest possible rate in order to discourage bids on the project because of climate change?
There is, the royalty rates are, I mean, that's not a surprise. That royalty rate is evident in other parts of the country. And I will say that with respect to our Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary, that is her department, that is her bureau, and I honestly, she takes care of that. She took care of that issue.
Well, but you're the secretary, so presumably you understand what's going on in your department. This is an extraordinary memo, and I just want to make sure that I understand what your position is. The memo says that a lower rate, the 16.67 rate to be precise, would have offered greater energy security. That's a quote from the memo. I have it. This is in public. Anybody can read this. Mm-hmm. That would have offered greater energy security. But your department recommended a significantly higher rate that you thought would likely lead perhaps to not developing, not moving forward with the project for the purpose of climate change. You didn't want this to go forward. You didn't want Alaska to have greater energy security because you said climate change. I'm just trying to understand, do you agree with that analysis? And you did indeed impose the higher rate. In fact, the lease sale 258 earned just one bid. So it looked like the strategy worked. I just want to know, do you agree with that we should trade off energy security for this country in favor of a climate change agenda?
Senator, what I can tell you is that the royalty rate for the leases was the most reasonable balance of environmental and economic factors for the public and was consistent with the IRA requirements. Additionally, of course, yes, we are in the midst of a terrible climate crisis, and it's our job to to balance those things, to create a balance on our public lands, because our public lands belong to every single American.
Okay, that sounds like a yes to me. So you're telling me, yes, you think that charging more and trading off energy security, sacrificing energy security in favor of the climate change agenda is the right trade-off.
Senator, this royalty rate was consistent with the IRA requirement.
Well, yeah, it's the highest. It's consistent in the sense that you couldn't charge more than that. I mean, the memo lays this out. You selected the highest possible tax, essentially, in order to discourage development, and you succeeded in it. What's amazing is the memo, and listen, kudos to the person who wrote the memo, because they're very honest. They say we could have energy security or we could have the climate change agenda. Energy security needs to be sacrificed. Let's go with climate change. And you're telling me that you agree with that. I just have to say, I think that is a disastrous trade-off, and I can't improve upon the comments offered by one senator who said, I'm appalled by the contents of this memo, which make crystal clear that this administration is literally putting their radical climate change agenda ahead of the needs of the people of Alaska and the United States. That was the chairman. Mm-hmm. He was absolutely right about that. Well said, Mr. Chairman. And I just want to register that I think that this decision to sacrifice our energy independence and energy security in favor of an agenda that is making us dependent on China, that is making us dependent on OPEC, that is making us dependent on every dictator around the world is a disastrous choice for the working people of this country. My time's expired. I have some more questions, but I'll give them to you for the record. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I just want to come back, Madam Secretary, to this trade-off between energy security and the radical climate change agenda that you've endorsed, which is less energy security for America, radical climate change agenda. On the subject of these sweeping mandates related to electric vehicles that the Biden administration has imposed, including now for our military, the metals needed to make the lithium-ion batteries in those vehicles are, of course, lithium, nickel, graphite, and cobalt. Now, can you tell me what nation is the largest producer of refined lithium in the world?
No, I can't.
It's China. Can you tell me which nation is the largest producer of refined cobalt in the world?
No, Senator.
It's China. Do you know what nation is the largest exporter of natural graphite to the United States globally?
No, Senator.
It's China.
Okay.
So in all of these instances, these mandates, your decision to trade off our energy security in favor of a radical climate change agenda is making us more and more dependent on China. And at the same time, you are denying mining, blocking permits for mines in this country that would allow us to develop nickel and copper and cobalt. Why? Why block the development of these resources in our own nation in favor of making us dependent on China?
Senator, are you referring to the Boundary Waters?
I'm referring to the Twin Metals mine in Minnesota. I think that Senator Brasso was just asking about it.
Yes, near the Boundary Waters, which is an iconic place and, of course, a very valuable ecological system to many plants, animals, species.
But jobs for, let me just say this though, jobs for blue-collar workers in this nation are valuable resources. The livelihood and well-being of American families are valuable resources. The ability of America to have our own industry and not be dependent on China is a valuable resource. Why should those things for millions of Americans be sacrificed in favor of your agenda for radical climate change?
Senator, I know that there's like 1.9 jobs for every American in the country right now, so I know there's a lot of jobs.
Wait a minute. You're telling me you're telling me we've got too many jobs in the country?
Well, I'm saying that we don't have enough people. That's why we are having a hard time finding folks to work at our department. But
wait, you're telling me that we have too many jobs for blue-collar work? Have you seen the number of jobs we have lost in this country to China in the last 20 years? Do you know where those jobs come from? Over 3 million jobs have gone to China. Do you know where those jobs have come from? They've come out of Midwestern towns like the ones I represent. They are blue-collar workers, and you're sitting here and telling me that we have too many jobs in this country? Are you serious?
Senator, we are working hard every single day. We have processed 20 mining applications, 20 mines or mining modification permits since January of 2021. We are moving forward. We're doing our jobs. We're fulfilling our mission for the
You're not moving
department.
forward, you're moving backward. You're shutting down and denying permits for mines in this country where we can develop our own resources. You're shutting down oil and natural gassing permits. You're approving taxes and royalties that deliberately suppress American energy development in favor of a climate change agenda. And now you're sitting here and telling me we've got too many jobs in this country. We've got gobs of jobs in this country. We don't need any more jobs in this country. I want to take the strongest possible exception to that comment and to that entire mentality, which I think is very honest. I think it reflects the mentality of your administration, which is when it comes to blue-collar workers in this country, you're on your own. Good luck. Good luck to you. We got plenty, just shut up and go get a job at McDonald's, whatever. No more, quit complaining about the loss of American industry. I mean, good Lord, that is extraordinary. What an extraordinary response.
May I say something, Senator?
Absolutely. The rest of the time's yours.
Thank you. Contrary to that, we have created a number of jobs. We have an orphan gas program where we've capped orphan oil and gas wells, an abandoned mine reclamation project that has lifted whole communities up in reclaiming their mine lands that have devastated their communities. These folks have been out of jobs for years, and now because of the bipartisan infrastructure law, because of the Inflation Reduction Act, they found new ways to engage and not only have jobs, but have a vision for what they want their communities to look like. We have plugged orphan gas wells in people's backyards in Pennsylvania, and we're doing so in California and Texas. These are communities that rely on this government to find a way forward for them. There is, unfortunately, a dearth of legacy pollution in this country. Those are jobs, good-paying, well-paying jobs with benefits that Americans are having because of President Biden and his policies. And we're proud to move those issues and those programs forward for the American people.
My time has expired. I'll just say in conclusion again. Trading off American energy security in favor of your radical climate change agenda, shutting down good-paying American jobs in our energy sector, and then saying the explanation is